Hello, my name is Anna and I have been a special needs teacher for about 28 years. For 15 of those years, I taught students with PMLD. I currently teach students in the sixth form department, not with PMLD, but I absolutely loved my time doing that. I would like to wish anyone and everyone lots of luck for the new school term and year ahead, and say if you've never taught students with PMLD before, I know it can feel really daunting, but you will absolutely love it. I promise. It's a lot of fun and very rewarding. So I have a couple of things that I learnt along the way. One is that it is fine to repeat, and repeating things means the students start to get used to what you're going to do and can start to anticipate. If there's things they particularly enjoy or find funny, then they will really enjoy the anticipation of that. It can also bring about a sense of awe and wonder, because they'll suddenly be like, oh, I remember this music. Particularly if it's like a sensory story. So repeating is really good. You don't need to have a different story every week. I tend to repeat a story sometimes for a whole term, and by the end the students are just really, you can see, really waiting for certain elements that they've particularly enjoyed. So that was the first one. Another one is giving them time to react and process, and that can be quite tricky when you maybe have students who are non-verbal, because initially it can feel a bit awkward having that silence after you've spoken to them. But the more gap and processing time you can give them, the more the students will have a chance to be independent and be themselves. And I have one example, which was a long time ago, and I don't know if we'll be allowed to do that anymore, but we used to, every morning in our hello, we would light a little tea light candle on a tray, one for each student, and at the end of the morning session, the good morning session, we would give them a chance to blow it out, or we would blow on their hand as someone else blows the candle out to get that feeling. But one time I had a student and I realised his breathing was always like coming near, but he didn't ever have quite enough puff. So he would be a student who we would blow on his hand whilst we counted and blew it out. And then one time I really felt like he was trying to blow it himself, and realised perhaps we hadn't been waiting long enough. So I had two head switches, one that was recorded with yes and one with no. And I said to him, I was like, Jordan, would you like to blow the candle out yourself? And he did yes straight away. So therefore we're like, right, okay. And I stood there for 5 minutes with the tea light, and I was getting to a point where I was starting to think, is it just that he can't do it? And is this not the best thing to be doing? But actually, he was breathing and going, and in the end, he started breathing through his nose. And then he leant forward slightly and blew the candle out with his nose. And we all cheered, but no louder than his massive laugh. And he was so happy and thrilled. And I learnt from that day that that's because we gave him space and time to do it in his own time, and that he actually did share with us that he did want to do it himself. And all the times before that, we had been preventing him from doing it by thinking and presuming he couldn't do it himself. So I'm trying to think what the moral of that is. It's to give space and time for processing and to communicate, and not to just presume that they can't necessarily do something, or that they might not feel like they do mind or don't mind. So those are my tips. Sorry, it's a little bit waffly, but I hope they are useful, and I wish you lots of luck for the new school year. and it's going to be great.